What is going on, guys? Dylba here, and today I'm bringing you my video for the treasure map Bonney teams. These are just my teams I've put together. If they help you, awesome. If you didn't pull for some of the units over the last couple of Sugo Fests, I highly recommend going checking out Toadski, as he has already made a team with more accessible teams. But if you have done more pulls, or even if you're just interested in what teams I'm using, and maybe you can take 1 or 2 units from them, well, yeah, that's just as good. Okay. I haven't really read much of what Jinbe changes are. So what's the special? If crews 6 recovery slots when launching, special applies 50% inside resistance. After that, reduces all enemies' defense up duration by 5 turns, reduces a crew's attack down duration by 5 turns, and changes left column slots to int slots. Changes character slot to tandem slot. Applies 20% inside resistance to enemies 1 turn if Luffy's a support or on the crew. Prevents character slot from being changed until character lands a great strike, and heals crew by 20% health. Okay, so not really a huge improvement. Kind of lackluster. Boost signing characters, yeah, I don't really care too much about that. And the tandem, I actually haven't read the original tandem, so applies attack boost of 1.5 to inside characters for 1 turn and reduces crew's attack down duration by 1 turn. Alright. That's whatever. Here's whatever. I don't love what they're doing now with the treasure map characters just being a super evolution, but yeah. Here we have the boosted list. Obviously Robin is the highest booster, then Sanji and Nami are both the same. Everybody giving like an extra like added effect. If you have Robin, you get an extra card slot, so you usually have 3. If you have Robin, you get 4. Sanji increases success rate of slingshots, of basically the instant defeats, and a higher treasure points multiplier. And Nami boosts the success chance of the like nav level up by 20%. Okay. Oh, and also as well as steering wheel cards. Okay. And the Jinbe, once you evolve him, boost the number of times obtaining treasure points with CCAT cards by 5 times. And YB, which is last month's one, was boost navigation level increment increased by C chart cards by 1. Is that new? I don't think there was one that did that before. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then you just got the actual boosters, which are like the new legends, the old Jinbe, the New Year's legends in here as well as the batch units. 6+ Kaido and Law, which is good. Law, I don't think it's going to get any use. There's no quick bosses in this. Okay, well, and then your basic, yeah. Alright, past treasure map. Oh, not what I want to do. Well, let's just jump into my teams. So we'll start with... Alright, so this is the team I'm going to be using against Chopper. Chopper is a Psy unit, which... this is always going to be the easiest one. Basically, no matter what character... Okay, what class or type you bring, they're always going to get everything cooldown reduction, which is good. So that includes like your super swaps or your verses or whatever you decide to use. I'm using the recommended Luffy unit here, as he just gets around everything. And then they recommended Nami, so just chucked around here too. I think that gets around the resilience or the threshold. I've got all straw hats, so I can get through... So I can activate Luffy's superclass. And I've got Sanji and Zoro. They also get around threshold, but they also attack and all boost for the whole crew. Robin is literally just here because she's a boosted character that's int. So yeah, and Brook is here for wave clear on stage 1 and 2. So pretty easy team. Luffy, I believe, has the hunger. Yeah, so he gets around the 2 stacks or the 2 recovery or similar slots of hunger. You can use, I think Luffy gets around the threshold as well as Sanji and Zoro also get around the threshold. Luffy gets around the increased damage reduction. Yeah, so I think that's about it for this. Yeah, Luffy gets around the threshold too, but if you don't have Luffy, it's a login character. But yeah, overall this team's probably a little bit overkill, but I see it lasting the entire treasure map. But yeah, okay, up next is Brook. Brook is a Dex type unit, or Dex type boss, which the recommended character is the Exchange Ace, the Exchange Legend Ace, which you can get from multiple of basically every store in the game. I've got mine maxed out. Then it also recommends Whitebeard because they synergize really well together, and that gets around all of the effects. So what? The chain lock, because he has a chain reduction by 0.06 for 5 turns, but with Whitebeard he sets a chain boundary, so that's fine. And Whitebeard also gets around the burn, and I know it says 6 turns of burn, and Whitebeard only gets rid of 5 turns, but Whitebeard has a Sailor ability, which gets rid of 1 turn of burn, and then with his special gets around the other 5 turns, which is good. He has a barrier for block slots for 2 turns. Whitebeard also gets around that, which is fine. And then you just got Yamato for color affinity and more damage. Zora's to wave for the first two stages. And I believe Ace actually gives you attack boost, if I'm correct. Oh, doubles damage dealt, ignites. Yeah, and you can stack multiple conditionals, which is good with the conditional of Yamato. So yeah, stun, 2 times damage taken. Ace deals 95% health damage to the crew, so you'll get around the stun immediately. Other than that, I don't think, with the chain attack down with Whitebeard, you get around that. Yeah, very, very easy if you use Whitebeard and Ace. And Ace doesn't need to be completely maxed out. I think as long as you have at least 1 copy and him 6+, I think he gets around majority of the effects. So another pretty easy one here. Okay, third up is Franky and Usopp. The recommended units are Kaido and King, both of them free-to-play units, so everybody has access to these characters. On turn 1, they reduce the Driven Strike and Powerhouse cooldowns by 5 turns, so that's like, again, versus or super types. Normal attacks only, no surprise there. I've got Roger and Odin for the attack and all boost. NL is to clear stage 1. Izo Kiku to clear stage 2 and have a chain lock. King, not King. So damage reduction, King gets around, yeah. Damage threshold, King also gets around. There are several units on this crew that do all manipulation, so there's no problem there. On death, he'll 10% HP and does 20,000 damage. King gives you a damage threshold, so you won't die. And once you take the damage, Kaido's special will auto proc, and it will. Yeah, I can't remember what's auto proc. I actually haven't used this new Kaido. I know special auto proc up here. Yeah, change slots. Yeah, so Kaido special auto proc after the damage you take, and yeah, you'll have your mono slots to hit through barriers. Silence. You should be fine hitting through. It's only 10% HP, so you're not. It's not like you're gonna be struggling to find the damage to take these guys down. But yeah, as long as you have King and Kaido, you get around literally everything, and everybody should have King and Kaido if you played the last Kizuna and the last Pirate Rumble, as they're both free-to-play units. Okay, last one of the Battle Rush bosses is Jinbe. This is where it starts to get a little bit annoying, as Jinbe does start to add extra bullshitty kind of stuff to the battles. Okay, so its strength side and int characters all get cooldowns reduced by 5 turns. And then once you get to turn 3, you get 6 turns of paralysis, normal attacks only, slot change to block, bind crewmates for 9 turns, and then get an easy tap timing for 1 turn, nullified damage for 1 turn, barrier for 2 good taps for 1 turn, and immunity except for increased damage taken and weakened. And that's because Bonney gives the weakened effect if you hit with a recovery slot. Bonney gets around a vast majority of this. Franky and Usopp get around the nullified damage. Chopper can get around the barrier. So that's why these three recommended. I've got Nami Corinna here for an orb boost. So basically I'll swap to Corinna on stage 3, use their special for the orb boost as it is a universal orb boost. Vista is for the first 2 stages to clear. If I really wanted to, I could use Vista as my orb booster as well. So if you don't have Nami Corinna, you can use somebody else for wave clear stage 1, then use Vista stage 2 to clear stage 2, and then Vista stage 3 to get an orb boost. There is a 100,000 damage death hit, but Franky and Usopp do put up a defense, a percent damage reduction with their special, so you should be able to survive that pretty easily. Even if you hit your perfects, Bonney allows you to eat recovery orbs even with hitting perfects. And yeah, this is the fully boosted unit, so I shouldn't have too many issues. I'm sure if you just use a friend Bonney as well and use a V1 Bonney, I think this team also works in that regard. So either or, I'm pretty sure you could swap out your Bonney for a friend captain Bonney, because you don't need to use 2 Bonney specials to get around the... Because I'm pretty sure Bonney, one singular Bonney gets through the 9 special... Yeah, bind rush by 7 turns. So you'll have 3 turns of with the bind resistance, and then the further 7 with Bonney's special. So you only need 1 Bonney. So if you use the friend captain, or this Bonney as a friend captain, if you don't have it, the legend, and use V1 Bonney, which is pretty old, so most people should have her by now. She's also boosted in this treasure map, so she'll be incredibly helpful if you do not have this Bonney. Okay, now we're versing Bonney. Bonney is... So these are the bosses. Bonney is a Psi unit. Dex, Psi, and Int characters all get their reduced cooldown. For this team, I have got Robin set over here to be as a friend captain, just because you get the most point boost out of it, as well as a better captain effect with Lilith. Lilith also, I'm having a list here, has a wave clear mechanic for turn 1, so that's pretty good. For turn 2, you get 6 turns of attack down, so you use Jinbe to get around that, and a 1 turn cooldown reduction with special reverse. Sorry, Nami can use Nami there. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, yeah, it's just Nami. Never mind. She also avoids it as well. Intimidate for a chain lock for 3 turns. Yeah, okay. So it's like -1 for 3 turns, but I don't believe there is chain lock here anyway, so that's fine. Yeah. Reduced defense. You use one of the Robin specials, either your captain or the crewmate, and it is a 2x int, which is fine. You could use superclass to get around. You can use the superclass of Vegapunk to get int orbs, but yeah, no issue there. And that's just stage 2, and it's normal attacks only, so you're not going to be able to clear it with Vegapunk's wave clear ability, which is basically just the end of turn damage. Okay, moving on to the boss Bonney. On turn 3, you get 12 turns of despair. Slot changes to block, chain reduction for 6 turns, chain attack down for 2.2 or less for 2 turns, immunity except for defense down. I'm not sure why that is. I think who gets defense down? Robin, that's why. So they want you to use Robin. Intimidate slot boost for 1 turn. Attack boost 1.1 for 1 turn. So basically, they want you to already have an attack boost, and then use Lilith's special to boost your attack boost, and then get a secondary attack boost. And then defense up, which Robin gets around for that. If you use a chain lock, they remove beneficial effects, and then slot bind by 5 turns. I'm pretty sure most of these guys actually have some sort of slot bind. I haven't let me break him yet because I don't have materials. Nami has slot bind, yep. Robin, I think hers is pinch healing. Oh no, slot bind and final tap. And Jinbe does not. So, Vegapunk does not have slot bind. So, I'm pretty sure Sanji actually gives a chain boost. Or is it a chain lock? I know he does one of them. Or am I just... Did I read him? Yeah, it's a chain... reduced chain limit. Okay. That's what... Okay. Alright, so you'll be using, what, Sanji, and if clears the debuffs, then it is... It doesn't really matter. And then just follow up with the little special. Slot change block. That's the only thing. Who gets around that? Nami get... okay, so you can say... Using Nami in stage 2 also gives you slots, and then you use Lilith stage 3 superclass to give you the slots again, which is all int slots, and then she gives you int slot boost. So yeah, again, if you don't have Lilith, you can use her as a friend captain. If you don't want to use Robin, either or, it's a little bit tricky to get around because these guys. This is why if you're not going to pull on anything, I recommend pulling on boosted events like the New Year's and the anniversary and stuff, and always maybe basically 3 months, you'll just do the discounts on the treasure map Sugos, because getting even a single booster can make your life so much easier in regards to the treasure map itself, because the effects that we get on treasure map are just terrible, and if you can make treasure map that little bit easier, because it is a grind in itself, I just think it's worth it, in my opinion. Not all content creators agree with this, but I think that if you can have 1 or 2 boosters, it does the world. I got really lucky this time around. I only need to do 4 multis for these guys, but I've definitely made mistakes of going really deep in treasure map Sugos because I just don't want to deal with the effects. Anyway, that was Bonney. Next we'll be moving on to the Intrusion fight. Alright, and finally versing on 2 versus Lilith Vegapunk. Strength side in characters all get their cooldowns reduced. We are using Bonney as a captain as it's recommended. I know, if you see here, I'm not sure if many people notice this, because I've noticed even content creators get this wrong. Whoever is in this first square here, that is who they recommend as captain, and then the rest is just the rest of the crew. So if you think about that, they recommend using Bonney as a captain, and then I've got the Robin as a friend captain, so you can still use 2 Robins for the max point boost, but you have the more beneficial captain effect of Bonney, which is a higher multipliers and stuff. Anyway, on turn 2 you get a 50% HP cut, paralysis for 6 turns, hunger for 3 recovery slots, normal attacks only for 98 turns, unfavorable slots for 2 turns, and bind top row for 9 turns. So, paralysis, well, Bonney obviously gets around that. The reduced bind is Sanji, so you proc Sanji special, then you use Bonney special. And then, I believe, yeah. And that's the thing, I'm not sure if we use Nami or Bonney super class. I want to say Nami. So I've got the database open on the other page just so I can see which effects you have to get around. So yeah, that's fine. Oh, that's... That's interesting. Maybe you do have to use double Bonney against Lilith, because the paralysis Bonney gets rid of. It's 6 turns of paralysis, but then you also get bind on stage 3, so you might actually have to use double Bonney. That's not what I expected. Because you get the 9 turns of bind row 1, but Sanji should get around that. So Sanji, how many turns of bind do you remove? 6 turns, yeah, with the 3 from sockets. Yeah, that's exactly 9. But then you get 10 turns of crew bind in stage 3. So yeah, you might actually have to go with double Bonney, which is a little bit frustrating because it's less points on the Intrusion fight. But yeah, I don't know if you can get around that. You got Jinbe. Okay, so Yeah, and then you have to use Nami or Jinbe. Resilience. Yeah, that's annoying. So this turn you'd have to use a Bonney special, a Sanji special, and Nami special, and then take this down. And so yeah, all right. That's a little annoying because you'd want to have a higher point boosting team, but we'll see. We'll see when this goes live. Obviously, some of these teams are subject to change, but at the moment, like, I'm still figuring out whether or not. Yeah. Because we go here. Battle 2. 9 turns top row bind. Yep. 10 turns crewmate bind. So. And Bonney was the only one to be able to get around that. But paralysis is in this one, yeah? Actually, and the paralysis is Bonney. Yeah, special only goes for the paralysis, yeah? Yeah, bind paralysis for 7 turns. That's annoying. So yeah, likely gonna have to use double Bonney. Alright, and now moving into stage 3, like I was saying just before, you get bind for 10 turns, slot bind for 5 turns. Most of them resist it. Resilience for 6 turns, attack down for 5 turns. 18,000 damage for pain for 5 turns. So basically, as soon as you activate anything, you take damage. And then immunity, except for defense down, increased damage taken and weakened, which is just so you can use Bonney's weakened effect to take it down. If you have an attack boost, removes beneficial effects, and captain swap for 3 turns. So, that ain't great. So yeah, you're gonna have to use double Bonney for this, which is a little annoying, as it's not the highest point. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I've just now come to the realization as I'm filming this. But yeah, so much for Robin, but oh well. Still very high point boosting teams. Obviously, because I do pull for treasure map units, it's going to be a little easier for me. But I hope you guys got something out of all the other teams I've made. Because, like, yeah, some of these teams are quite easy to make, like the King and Kaido one. Basically, just remove Roger Odin. Most people do have Izo Kiku by now. This is basically free to play because you can buy Ace. Sussy is in the Metal Exchange. Yamato, you can replace that for just an Infinity Booster. Zoro is free to play. This whole team is very accessible, and just swap the Sanji Zoro legend out for literally any Sanji or Zoro that you want to fit into this crew. Anyway, guys, that's been my teams for Treasure Map Jinbe, or Treasure Map Bonney versus Jinbe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.